Hey there, my name is Partik. I'm a DevRel here at Agentuity, and today I want to show you a sneak peek of our brand new V1 platform. So we just launched our first preview release of V1 called Alpha, and so that's what we're going to take a look at today. But V1 in general represents a huge step up in the way that you build agents with us. And you get things like the ability to add a front end for your agents and deploy all of that within a single project. And so today we're going to walk through a quick template and I'll show you what you get with V1. Now I do want to mention that with this alpha release, we've got V1 docs up at preview.agentuity.dev. So I'll link all that below. If you want to reference any of the steps that we took today, or you want to look at some examples and learn more about V1, you can check out that link. So to get started, you're going to want to install the V1 CLI. And if you have the legacy version, it'll prompt you to uninstall that before you can get set up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we can go ahead and run that command again and get V1 set up. So while that's being set up, I do want to mention that V1 is still in preview, so it's not ready for production use just yet. But that being said, we do want you to try it out and let us know what works for you and what doesn't. So we'll link this below as well, but definitely reach out on Discord or check out the GitHub discussions to talk about what you're building, bring up any issues that you see, or things that you'd like us to add. But now that we've installed the CLI, we can go ahead and just take a look at the list of commands. And one of our main points of emphasis with V1 is trying to make it a lot easier to use the CLI and giving you first-class support with that. So there's a ton of really cool things that you can do in here, from viewing all your cloud commands like your sessions and logs, to setting up S3 compatible storage, and even coding agent related commands, including the ability to output stuff in JSON format for a bit more machine readable output. There's a lot that you can do within the CLI. But for now, what we're going to do is first log in and then walk through a template. So we'll run Agentuity auth login, and I'm going to go ahead and open this up and get set up. So once you're authorized, you can head back and we can go ahead and create our first project. So I'll ask you for a few things like selecting your cloud region and of course the name of the project that you want to add. And there's a few different templates that you can choose from. And of course, we're going to add more as we go. But for today, we're just going to look at the AI SDK with OpenAI. So once that's set up, you'll get a few more questions like if you want to set up an SQL database. So we're just going to go ahead and skip that for now. And you can also create a storage bucket when you're creating a project. But again, we're going to go ahead and skip. And so there we go. We got our first project built and we can go ahead and CD into that and take a look at what's new with V1. So taking a look at the project structure, it's going to be pretty similar to what you've seen before, but you'll notice that now we have things separated into agent, API, and web. So that's going to give you a better separation of concerns between what your agent logic is, so what the input and output to your agent is, how you use routes to interact or trigger your agents, which would be an API, and of course how you access your agents on the web. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the template agent first. And as you can see, we're going to have some template code from the Vercel AI SDK with OpenAI integration. But you'll notice that we have this new create agent function, and it's using the Agentuity runtime server-side SDK. We also have our own built-in schema here because, like I mentioned, everything in V1 is type-safe end-to-end. So you'll have input and output schemas that we'll talk about in just a second. And so down here, you'll see that we're creating our first agent, and the first parameter that you pass is the required agent name. You can also give it an optional description, and then here's where we set up our input and output schema. And so with these schemas, you get both runtime validation, so you'll catch any errors even before your agent handler runs, but you also get TypeScript type inference, so all of your agent handler parameters are fully typed. So in this case, we know that that prompt is a string. And so for us here, the input schema is just going to be a simple object with a single string property, and then the output is just the string response from the agent. And down here, we've got our handler, which is our actual logic for our agent. And you'll notice that we've got that context, which is going to be all of the logging, session information, storage that you need for your agents. So that stays the same from V0. And again, we can get that destructured input, and you'll notice that it's type safe. So from there, we're just going to go ahead and generate some text using that input prompt. Again, we know that that's a string. And then we'll grab that text and just return it. And so from here to actually talk about how we'll invoke our agent, we can go ahead and take a look at the API folder. And you'll notice that we have a create router instance that's going to return an extended Hano instance. So you'll get all your standard HTTP method, plus some special methods that we added on, like WebSocket, cron, and more. And then over here on line 2, we're going to actually import that agent using a special import alias. And the next thing is the actual route definition. And you'll notice that we have some middleware here. So that's going to go ahead and validate the request body against the agent's input schema. And the next thing that we'll do is go ahead and grab that request body. And you'll notice that that type is automatically inferred as well. From there, we're just going to go ahead and run the hello agent using the agent name.run, sending it that request data, and then grabbing the result and returning it as text. And then the last step here is actually the front end. So we'll go over to the web folder and then the app.tsx. And so the first thing that you'll notice is this useAPI, which is a type-safe hook for actually calling your routes. And you'll see that we have a built-in React package. But of course, we're hoping to add more support for things like Svelte in the future. And since the SDK is open source, contributions are welcome. So definitely reach out to us on Discord or GitHub if you're interested in helping out. But for now, we've got React support, and this useAPI is sort of TanStack query inspired. So down here, you'll see we can grab that output data. We have that loading state, and then we've got that invoke function, which is actually going to call our route. And so down here on a button click, we're going to go ahead and send that request using the incoming prompt, and then we'll get back that data. And so to actually try this out, we can go ahead and just run the run dev command, or Agentuity dev also works. And we can go and open it up and take a look at the front end. So in this case, the example prompt is just saying, tell me a joke. So we can go ahead and run that. And our agent's going to go ahead and respond with a simple joke there. And then as before, deploying is super easy. So you can just run run deploy or Agentuity deploy, and that'll deploy your project to our cloud. And you can see the CLI is going there, and it's hopefully giving some helpful information about exactly what steps are being taken. So once you do that, you'll get a couple of public URLs, so other people can interact with your agents and actually use them. But if you want to work on your agents locally and test drive them without creating a front end, you can actually do that with Workbench, which sort of replaces the old dev mode. So to do that, you're going to want to head over to app.ts down here in the project root. And setting up Workbench is super simple. You just have to import that create Workbench function, and then go ahead and add Workbench as one of these services. So then once you do that, we can go ahead and just build this again. So we'll just run run build, and then we can run run dev to see what the updated UI looks like. And so we can go ahead and click on this Workbench to actually test your agents in isolation. So you'll see here that you can choose between all the different agents that you have, and then click on this to get some sample data. And of course, this is all type safe, so you can check out your input and output schemas and interact with your agents that way. So right now, this is just some placeholder content, but we can go ahead and send that command and see that we can interact with our agents this way without, needing to create a front end or deploying first. And so once that runs, you can get, your output from your agent, and you'll get some more information about how long it ran for and how many tokens were consumed, and so on and so forth. So a couple other things to mention is if you want to check out the Cloud Console or the web app to get a visual for all your V1 projects, you can do that at app-v1.agentuity.com. And of course, you can take a look at all your projects, click into any of these and see your different agents and your routes, and take a look at the deployments, sessions, logs, and even things like evals, which are built in and run once your agents are finished running. And so there's quite a lot to do with V1. And again, we really hope that you try it out, and we would really love any feedback, any thoughts that you have. So definitely join our Discord if you haven't. We'll have a link to that in our docs and in our normal agentuity.com website. And we also have discussions set up on GitHub in the SDK mono repo. So if you've got any questions, or if you want to just tell us what you've been building, if you have ideas for how you want to improve V1, definitely let us know about all that. And again, we really want to make this a great developer experience for everyone. So we really hope that you enjoy V1 during this alpha preview, and we'll hopefully be in touch and see what you're building. But until then, thanks for joining me, and I hope you have a great day.